Welcome back to our channel. Like always, make sure you subscribe.
If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and tell us down below in the comments what you want to see next.
So on today's video, we're super excited. We're gonna make our favorite meal. This is the meal that we make for anyone who comes over to our house for the first time, if we want to cook them dinner, and it is homemade chicken Alfredo. It's gonna be a homemade sauce, homemade everything.
Homemade chicken, we're making the chicken with our hands.
That's not a thing, but if it was, we would try it, but we're not going to tonight.
Nope.
Why don't we go over the ingredients of what you guys are gonna need if you do decide to make this dish.
Okay.
So for seasonings, we have salt, we have pepper, we have paprika or red pepper flakes, but also these are optional. We have garlic, and it's fresh garlic, so it's a clove of garlic. You'll see what we do with that later. I also like adding ground sage. This is another optional thing, you don't have to do it, but these three things are optional. If you want a little bit of a kick or some spice, do paprika and red pepper. Red pepper flakes.
Where's your mind?
Okay, moving on to dairy products. You'll need butter, and then you'll also need some Parmesan cheese. You'll need heavy whipping cream. Obviously, you'll need some chicken. And for tonight, for the noodle, we're gonna use a linguine instead of a fettuccine. Sometimes we do fettuccine, sometimes we do linguine, sometimes we do spaghetti, sometimes we do angel hair, but tonight, linguine.
PJ failed to mention the most important ingredient. Wine. We usually have a glass of wine going while we're cooking, we have some music playing. It's about an experience.
The very first step is to season your chicken and put it in the oven because that's gonna take you the longest. So we usually use salt and pepper, maybe some red pepper flakes, onion powder, garlic powder. Those are all things you can use. Fresh garlic, which is what we prefer. Tonight we're trying to do it quickly, so we'll probably just use garlic powder. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. I'm gonna get started on that, so here we go. I am getting the chicken ready. I'm just putting some olive oil down on the pan. We're gonna bake the chicken. You can also grill it on a grill if you want to. There's a few different ways that we do it, but tonight, since it's not very warm outside, we're gonna just do the chicken on a pan and bake it. So we're just gonna take all the chicken, put it on the pan, and then since my hands are covered in chicken,
What do you need?
mind doing me the favor of salt and pepper?
What is that?
So some salt.
You can never have too much salt.
I'm gonna wash my hands so I can help you. We're gonna preheat the oven at about 350 degrees, and then we just cook it until it's finished. I like my chicken overcooked, and Thomas likes his about average.
I just like it regularly cooked.
Yeah. We're gonna add some red pepper flakes just to give it some heat.
All right.
A little garlic powder and a little onion powder, and then we're gonna pop it in the oven. So there's that. And this just goes right in the oven. Okay, now that the chicken is starting, we are going to get started on the sauce. So the Alfredo sauce, so good, can't wait to show you. Yes. Now it's time to prepare the garlic cloves. So we have 4 cloves of garlic. I've already peeled 3 of these. I'm gonna show you guys how I like to peel them. So what I normally do is just cut the end off. If it's hard to get this shell off, these are kind of easy. You can kind of smash it a little bit, and that usually will loosen it up. And then you're going to finely mince your garlic. You're gonna add the garlic once it's minced into a pot on the stove with a half a stick of butter. The more the butter, the better. Some butter going in there.
PJ's been using this really neat little garlic mincer tool.
It speeds up the process.
Yeah.
So watch this. I forgot we had it. So you do that, and it just comes out like that. Just do this. So you want to make sure that you don't burn your garlic or butter. I'm gonna turn that down.
What's the secret to not burning garlic? Because
You just do it on low, medium. Watch it. If it starts turning brown, you're burning it.
Does anything smell better than garlic and butter? Can you smell it through the screen right now?
It's important to make sure that you give your garlic and butter enough time to kind of marinate together as they simmer on the stove. You can kind of see here, it's starting to get a nice color to it. Smells amazing. Once you have given this, maybe let's say about 5 minutes of simmering together, then you're gonna start adding your seasonings. So that would be when you want to, if you want to add paprika, if you want it really spicy, you would add the red pepper flakes. I think tonight I'm just gonna do paprika, and I'm gonna do the ground sage and salt and pepper. So those will be the things. It still needs a few more minutes. I'm gonna let that set for a second.
One thing PJ is really good about doing while he cooks is cleaning up after himself. One thing I am not good at doing while I cook is cleaning up after myself.
So this has had enough time on the stove. We're gonna start adding the seasoning. We do everything by taste.
Yeah, that's a good point, PJ. We don't really typically measure anything. We just kind of dump it in there. You can always add more if need be.
So we're getting a nice roux going.
Let's take a look at that.
Give me one of the wooden spoons. So now that this is all together, we're gonna let this have a few minutes together of simmering and mixing flavors. Once we have it together for, let's say, another 5 minutes, that's when we start adding the heavy whipping cream. In the beginning when I made this, I used milk. That's a no-no. You have to use heavy whipping cream. So if you're lactose intolerant, I'm sorry, this is not the recipe for you. So I have a 32 ounce for the heavy whipping cream. I'm gonna use probably about half of it. And then we'll do taste. If I need to add more, I will. So we got that going in. Mix it up. Once the heavy whipping cream heats up, that butter and garlic will all mix in very nicely. Then we're gonna give this about 10 minutes to simmer together. We have our Alfredo sauce heating up, mixing together. So now it's time to get started on your pasta noodles. We're gonna add a little bit of salt to this water.
Aren't pasta... Wait, you have to turn the bottom off. Oh my god. Or the top.
You said bottom.
One of them. I wasn't sure which one.
Well, that's not good.
Jeez.
So anyways, we're gonna start on the noodles. This needs a few more minutes, and then we're gonna start adding the Parmesan cheese, which is like the last step for the sauce. Chicken is going. We're getting very close to being finished.
Yes, I'm so hungry.
And it's really ready for the Parmesan, so let's add that now. We go back and forth on the type of Parmesan that we use. We found that the Parmesan that comes in the little plastic jars actually tastes better. Fresh Parmesan doesn't make a good creamy sauce.
Turn down.
Oh my god. This will be about half of the jar.
And again, we don't really measure.
We do it all by taste.
Yep. And kind of like the garlic, you can never have enough.
Garlic, butter, and Parmesan.
Yeah.
As long as you do those 3 ingredients, you'll be fine.
It smells so good.
We like to save a little bit of the jar so that we can put it on our pasta.
To garnish it with even more.
This is the meal that's gonna send you straight to the hospital.
Oh my gosh, don't tell people that. No, it's going to get... No.
It's gonna give you pleasure, and then it's gonna give you a heart attack.
Right.
So
Amazing.
make sure that once you add the cheese, don't overheat, because the cheese will burn. So it's either good to just turn it off. We have burnt this right before we were ready to eat.
Yeah.
And it's not fun to have to start all over.
It doesn't taste terrible, but it just doesn't taste as good as
So the
it could
cheese will also give it more of a thickness. You can add more cheese and less cream if you want it to be more of a thicker
Yeah, play around with
sauce.
it.
This is
stage.
I like it about at this consistency. I like it a little bit liquidy, but still thick enough for if you're gonna do French bread, which is what we used to do all the time. We're not doing it tonight.
Oh, you should dip it in there. Makes the best dip.
So I'm gonna taste it and see where we're at.
Is it delish?
Yeah, try it.
Oh my gosh.
It's good.
We haven't made this in quite some time, so this is a treat for us.
So that's finished. We're just waiting for the water to come to a boil, and then we'll do the noodles. Chicken is on its way. There's the light for this. All right. So now it's just a waiting game.
All right, let's get those noodles in there.
The water is boiling, so we are gonna add our linguine noodles. This is just however many that you feel like you're gonna eat. So
Usually on the back of those things, they have a serving size that you can measure. Let's add a couple more.
just make sure you stir your pasta noodles as soon as they are able to stir, because you don't want them to stick together.
Are pasta and noodles the exact same thing or no?
Pasta and noodles. So pasta and noodles, I would imagine, are the same thing. The only thing that's different is how they make the noodle. So some are thin, some are thick, some are round, some are flat, some are... What in the world?
Yes, I'm like, are you making this up or is this real?
Well, I'm making it up, but I feel like it's real.
Okay.
And don't forget, stir your noodles and stir your pasta.
Stir them both at the same time.
That's hot.
That's hot.
No,
But,
that's hot.
oh jeez. Okay. Anyways, let's go ahead and rinse them. Do you mind? Do you mind? No, do you rinse your noodles or do you just leave them? I think there's like a big debate on whether you should rinse them or not, but
It's a debate. Do I wear camo or pearls with my black dress?
I don't know that reference.
Chicken looks good. Noodles look good. Sauce looks good.
You look good.
Let's get it plated. Everything is finished. The chicken, the Alfredo sauce, and the noodles. So now it's time for my favorite part, which is plating it. I have no experience. I'm not a professional at this, but I do really enjoy it.
No.
So I'm gonna do it by adding some Alfredo sauce to the bottom of the plate. I'm gonna take some noodles.
Are your hands clean?
And add them to that. My secret to this, which is also really unhealthy, is to take your Parmesan and add that to your noodles, because they're really sticky right now, so they'll absorb that Parmesan. Then you're gonna take your Alfredo sauce and put it on top. That. And then for the chicken, I'm gonna slice it. Let's see.
You better not cut your fingers off again.
Oh, heck no. I'm gonna do 3 little chicken tenders per plate. So we're gonna take this, add that to the top. I left out the paprika, because we added red pepper flakes to the chicken, which gave the chicken a nice little kick to it. But this is gonna be for a little bit of decorations. And we're gonna add a little bit of this on top. But that's that. Here we go. Boom.
Let's see it. The finished product. Deliciousness. Let's hold it up. So you can get a good look at it. Yum. Delicious.
So I'm just plating all of the plates. That's that. So that concludes our video, right, Thomas?
We are finished. Let's eat.
Yeah. Like always, you can find us on Instagram at PJ and Thomas.
You can find us on Facebook as The Property Lovers and on Twitter as PJ and Thomas.
Until next time.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.